Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Rick Fussell and this is the Ingrain Workshop. In today's video we're going to be doing a tool review on the Dewalt compact router, model number DWP611. That's coming up next here at the Ingrain Workshop. So this is the Dewalt DWP611 compact router. Now, not all routers are created equal. I have a Freud FT2000E over at my router table, and I believe that's a 3¼ horsepower router, which is a big, beefy router. I think you need something that big and beefy for a router table. For just typical handheld routing, I had been using the Dewalt DWP611, which is, I believe, 2¼ horsepower. And this is nice, don't get me wrong. It's plenty powerful enough, but you know, it's pretty beefy itself. And when all you're doing is wanting to maybe put a little 1/8" chamfer or round over or trim up some laminate for a countertop, you really don't need anything this big. And that's why I got the Dewalt compact router. It's very lightweight. It's 1¼ horsepower, but it's plenty strong enough for doing the small routering work that you would typically use for a compact router, that being trimming up some laminate, putting a chamfer or round over on some material. So let's go ahead and unbox it and see what's in the box. So inside the box you have your operating instructions and manual. You also have I believe it's a 17mm collet wrench for the router. And then you have the actual router itself with the fixed base. Now this router only comes with the fixed base. If you want to get the plunge base, which I would highly recommend, the model number for that is WP611PK, and I'll leave links to both just the fixed base compact router, which is DWP611, and then the compact router with the plunge base, which is the DWP611PK, and there'll be Amazon links in the video description below. I think this runs around $150, and then the package with the plunge base is approximately $200, $210. But yes, I highly recommend getting the one with both the fixed base and the plunge base. So as far as the DWP611, all that comes with this, like I had mentioned earlier, is the collet wrench. Then you have the fixed base and then the router itself. So the only difference between this and the package that has the plunge base is the plunge base. The router is exactly the same. So let's go over the specs for this particular compact router. It draws 7 amps of electricity. The motor for the router is 1¼ horsepower. This makes on the low end 16,000 RPM, and then on the high end 27,000 RPM. This is a variable speed motor. I believe it has the numbers from 1 up to 6. The fixed base has a travel distance of 1.5 inches, and you simply undo the quick release. You can slide the fixed base off, or you can loosen and turn the ring at the top, and I believe every revolution is 1/64 of an inch, so you can really fine-tune the depth of the fixed base. And then you can also remove it fairly easy from the router. And then if you did have the plunge base, you could simply just slide it right on. And you can leave the adjustment collar on, or you can take the adjustment collar completely off. That's up to you. The collet is a 1/4 inch collet, so you can only fit 1/4 inch shaft router bits on it. I believe the collet wrench is a 17mm collet wrench. It does have a collet stop, so you can press the button on the side of the router, and that locks in the collet, and then you can use your wrench to loosen the collet and then swap out your router bits. The total weight for this router is 4.1 pounds, so it's really lightweight. You can control it. You don't have to worry about it rocking. You can, pretty much route with just one hand. It's almost like just a trim router. It's very compact. And like I said, for using it to trim laminate tops or just putting a slight 1/8 inch chamfer or round over on some material, this is the perfect size router that you need for those particular situations. So now that we've went over the full specs on the router, I'll zoom in and give you a close-up of all the features that are on this particular router. So as you can see, this is your 1/4 inch collet, and then your collet nut, and then to put a 1/4 inch shaft bit in the router, you simply slide it in. Then there's your spindle lock button right here on the side, so you compress it. Then you can hand tighten it, and then instead of using the factory wrench that comes with the router, I just always like to use a regular wrench. I just think regular wrenches are a little bit more sturdier. And again, this is a 17 millimeter wrench, and as you can see, it's pretty easy to tighten down. Then the next thing we're going to do is, this is our adjustment ring, which slides up and down or screws up and down the shaft. Like I had mentioned earlier, I believe 1 revolution is 1/64 of an inch, so you can really fine tune your depth of cut. And then the fixed base has 2 rivets on the inside of the shaft here, and you just line those up with the grooves on the shaft on the router. And then the fixed base just slides right on it. Now the adjustment ring has 2 clips on each side. You depress those and then you can snap it in, and now it's attached to the fixed base. So now with this quick release in the open position, you can now fine tune the depth of your router. And like I said, that's 1/64 of an inch per turn. And then once you get it to the depth that you want, then you can simply lock in the fixed base and you're locked and ready to go. Now, let me take the fixed base back off, and you see how easily that comes off. And then you have 2 LED lights on both sides of the shaft, and I really like that because no matter what angle you're routing at, you've got plenty of light. The motor also has a soft start, so as you start the router, and this is the on-off button here at the top of the router, since it has that soft start, if your shaft or whatever is wobbling because you don't have it in correctly or it's loose, you can very quickly shut it off before it gets up to too many RPMs, and then retighten your bit in your router. And that's pretty much it. You do have the variable speed here above the on-off switch, and like I said, it has 6 different settings. Again, from number 1 being the low speed, which would be 16,000 RPM, all the way up to 6, which is the 27,000 RPM. So for the price point at $150, it's a nice compact router. The fixed base seems to be cast iron or cast steel, and then you have the plastic plate on the bottom. It does also come separately. You can order a dust collection port to put on here, but again, that's an additional accessory that you have to buy. And you could also buy separately the plunge base separately as well, but I think you're better off just buying the DWP611 PK package, which already has the plunge base included with it. One thing I really want to point out about this router is the adjustment ring detaches from the fixed base. So it can kind of look deceiving when you put this on and you lock it onto the adjustment ring. You know, you're going to think, oh, I've got to unscrew it to get the fixed base off every time. And you don't have to do that. There's 2 clips on each side of the adjustment ring. You just depress those. As long as your quick release on the fixed base is in the open position, it just slides right off, and then you can slide your plunge base on there. Or you can twist the adjustment ring completely off. You know, that's your call, but I just wanted to point out that this adjustment ring does come off the fixed base, so don't think that you've got to unscrew the adjustment ring every time you want to take the fixed base off. It just slides loose, and then you can just slide the fixed base right off. All in all, I think this is a good router for the price point. And again, you know, there's a different router for different occasions depending on what you're working on. I think for using it as a laminate trimmer or putting a chamfer or round over on a piece of wood, this is really a nice, lightweight, compact router. I'll leave links in the video description to where you can get this one and the one with the plunge base. The standard, just the compact router with the fixed base, is about $139, and then the same router with the fixed base and the plunge base is going to run you about $204. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this kind of gives you an idea before you go out there and purchase anything, if this is something that's right for you. I believe probably Milwaukee makes a similar type of compact router, but between Milwaukee and Dewalt, I don't think you're going to find that big of a difference. If you enjoyed the video, then please leave me a like. If you're new to the channel and you like DIY and woodworking projects, then I'd highly suggest that you smash that subscribe button. It's free and painless. And I'd also ask that you click on that bell icon. That way you'll be notified of all our upcoming videos. To all my existing subscribers, I really appreciate all the love that you're giving this channel. I'm Rick with the Ingrain Workshop. Until next time, have a wonderful day and God bless.